if it's an issue, but let's see. Okay, so we are back with another stream, and I was away for a few weeks. I was actually at one of the events, Google I/O, which was in Berlin, and Google I/O extended actually because the main I/O happens in San Francisco, and Google does the extended events in most of the regions. I think there will be soon one in Asia as well. So yeah, let's go. But today we are going to we are changing the format a bit, and now we are going to talk about few ideas which we finalized beforehand and then do it. So today we are going to talk about two things. One of them is of course Angular 22 release, and then we have a Sonnet 5 release. And let's see. So Sonnet 5 is already available in VS Code or GitHub Copilot. Let's see if I can see it's Sonnet 5. Yes, it's available. So let me share my screen. And let's and let's close the chat window for now. I mean, I'm not going to use it uh, for some time. Okay, what's happening? Why it's not using. Okay, let's go. Yeah, so Angular 22 got released in at the start of this month, and there are some amazing features. I actually wrote a blog post about it, and let me just maybe remove my headphone. I'm not, anyways, I'm alone here, so Ritvi is not joining, anyways. Yeah, so as I said, Angular 22 and Sonnet 5, right? So two things we are going to talk about. So Angular 22 got released, and we have blog. So we will go through the features, and we have a demo, actually demo app, or we can just go through the demo and let's see how it works, and then maybe we can just go ahead and use Sonnet 5 in and see if we can upgrade the Angular version. So because if you see, when I was writing this blog, I wanted to use a feature from Angular 22.1, which was not released yet. It was actually next version. So to do that, to use that feature, I just ended up doing this, but uh, we can upgrade to Angular 22 as well, and we can use Sonnet 5 to do that. And let's go ahead and run this app. So I can say, hey, I can use npm start. And the server is running. Almost 420. The app is here. So one of the major feature, or you can say the amazing feature of Angular 22 is actually signal forms are stable now. It was in under preview for a long time, and now all the features are the Angular forms are stable. Sorry, signal forms are stable, so you can actually just delete a lot of code and maybe use signals everywhere, because so far most of the APIs, I think, not nothing, but yeah, the router thing, which is still not signals, but everything apart from that is almost signal. And then forms was the next step, and maybe router next, and then everything entire framework becomes signal compatible, or maybe everything is running on signals. So let's go ahead and see the few features of Angular 22 signal forms. So we have in it's the first thing is of course the forms is stable, and then we have few more methods which you can actually use inside your form, and we can actually go ahead and see the code base here as well. So this is the demo, and then we have some code base which we can explore. So let's go ahead and see the signal forms demo. And the first thing which we have is validation. So now you can actually trigger reload validation. So this button actually what it does is actually it reloads the validation. So if I click on it, and you can you know use there are some other methods which are available. For example, debounce, which is really nice. And here example, for example, you can see the debounce. It says it actually 400 milliseconds. So if I type this, it's not like your validation is going to run as soon as you start typing, because it used to be a problem before, and then people used to use RxJS to do this, and now just debounce. So let's see this example. So I can just go ahead and say, hey, you know what? I'll just go ahead and search this in our code base here. So if I see this form, so this is like how you define a new form. If you see the import, it's actually coming from signals, like Angular forms and signals. And then you can create a new form using this form method, and then you can pass the model. So because signal forms are typed, so you don't have to struggle with like, oh, what kind of data type it is. And here we are defining the model, so which is again a signal, right? And we are saying, okay, this is the default value. So username, email, full name, age, website, and bio. And then we are setting up some of validation. So I can just go ahead and use the same validation we had before uh, in reactive forms as well. I think this existed long, like way before. And then we are saying, okay, this is required mail length. And then we are saying debounce on username for 500 milliseconds. And then you can run a validate async inside the form. So it will try to run the validation asynchronously, which was, I'm sure, like if you have written template-driven forms or reactive forms, async validation was not that easy. So now here it is easy. So you can just go ahead and use validate asyncs in case you have any params, and then you can pass the factory function where we are passing resource API. Everyone knows like resource API is what it is. And then same, like you can call your fetch API. So we will talk about the fetch one as well. So now this is just for demo purpose. So we are just delaying it like just a set time out inside. And then we are seeing like if your username is any of this. So if I go ahead and use this one, yep. So we don't see this. Yeah. So it says, okay, the username is already taken, and which is actually coming from the on success and then on error, right? So on success, it will just say, okay, uh, if username is taken, then it says the username is already taken. And then if there is any error, it says could not verify availability. If not, then of course we return null. So we return null, which means there is no error. So similarly, you can see another example for debounce where we are using validate STTP. So there are two ways. You can either use validate async, or you can also use validate STTP. Feel free to use whichever you want. So this is like an email registration via HTTP resource. So, I'm calling HTTP resource inside rather than a resource API. So I'm reaching out to validate HTTP. And it's again, almost this signature is same. You get on success, on error. If it's success and returns undefined, it means there is no validation error. But in case there is an error, email registered. So it says, oh, this email is already registered and you cannot take it anymore. So, and the only thing which we are missing is an API call. So maybe you can implement it on your own. Let me see if I ended up doing that. Like, so I think I have one main. Oh no, I did not. Yeah, I should have added one request to check, but yeah, it's okay. All good. I mean, this is again a demo, right? So it's not an actual app. So go ahead and try out the signals forms. One of the upgrades. And then this is the feature I was talking about. So link signal can now have a set option to update the link signal or the signal on which depends on. Let me show you an example if you're getting confused, like, oh, does this mean? So a simple example which I came across is this. So we have Celsius to Fahrenheit, and but if I can also change this, and the Celsius also changed. So this is the signal Celsius, and then Fahrenheit is the linked signal. And when we change this, we want to upgrade this one as well. And this is where this custom set or the set function which is available now, or set option which is available now, it's an option basically, is very useful. So let's go ahead and see the working code. Hey, Ankit. Thanks for joining. So we are talking about Angular 22 and Sonnet 5 today. And yeah, in case you tried anything, let us know. So this is temperature. I don't think so. This is the example. Yeah, and link signal temp. So here, for temperature, so you can see this is actually a link signal here, which takes Celsius. Like by default, what it does is calculates the Celsius, and there is a set option which actually goes ahead and updates the Celsius in case we are updating the Fahrenheit value as well. So this is, well, F is nothing but the Fahrenheit value. So it works both ways, right? And so this is new in Angular 22.1 actually. Uh, I'm sure it should be stable. Let's go ahead and see like what is the latest version of Angular, because when I was writing this blog, it was 22.1.0 installed version, and latest version is 22.0.4. So okay, so I'm still not sure like if this is installed because sorry, or this is shipped or not, because it was supposed to be in 22.1. So I will not take a risk and go ahead and update this repository for now, and wait till 22.1 is released. Just in case like you want to explore this demo on your own, actually this is available. Let me see if I can open another window, new tab here, and it's actually available on mg22 dot santoshayadav.dev. So all the demos are here in case you want to read a blog post. So just go to my blog, which is Santosh Yadav dot dev. And I think this should be the last blog which I published. Yep. So June 16, and entire, like you can read about like what are the changes, what are the breaking changes. It's everything is here. So another one which is Resource API, which got some upgrades. So there are some enhancements. So now you have SSR caching with ID. So you can cache the first request, and which will never be uh, like sent again. So there won't be another request. So this is an example. So it says we are passing an ID to resource, like so for here. So this feature user is an ID, and so your server knows, oh, we already made this call, so we don't have to do it again. So this is a great feature in case you want to do some heavy data lifting before, yeah, you render anything. So just do this. So if you can avoid the refetching, and there is zero network request for the initial load. So this is all which is happening on server because I'm actually using an SSR app. So if you see, there is actually a server.ts which is running. So you can achieve this using the ID feature which is available now. So to transfer the cache key. And then there are resource parameter status which is available. So right now it's actually not running. It's ideal, but I can click on this and says, hey, it's resolved. So there is a new parameter, and I mean you can actually respond with resource parameter status.idle saying, oh, there is no fetches which is happening. So this is like on request on demand thing, and you can just click on it and it will just send the status loaded in case it makes a call. Otherwise, it will just say, hey, there is nothing. So, for example, simple use case where you don't have any idea why you want to make an API call, you can just say, okay, it's just idle. Like, there's nothing which is happening right now. Streaming resources, I think this is very good example in case you want to make some agentic UI where you are getting maybe a stream of response from your API. For example, if you're talking to Open API or Anthropic API, and which gives you streams basically. They don't give you simple, I mean, They just don't dump you the entire response, or this like a stream which is going on in the background. So you can now use a stream property, which is available here. So you can see this. So if you see a difference like between this and the previous example, which is again resource. So if you see, this is params and loaded, and this one is params and streams. So that's the only difference. Now you can actually just go ahead and respond with streams, and then you can render everything. So go ahead and explore this new APIs, and I'm sure like with CLI, I mean, we have an upgrade guide, right? And every time Angular does anything, we get an upgrade guide. So you can just go ahead and upgrade everything using the CLI, and you're good. So you don't have to do anything manually. Material also got some changes or maybe some improvements. So one of them is this progress bar indicator on your button. So if I click on this, you see this loader which is happening right now. So this is a new thing. So you can just say, hey, show progress, and call a function, which I'm not doing anything, like just, I'm just introducing a delay so I can show this loader button. And that's it. So dialog with input bindings. Now you can actually just pass input bindings to your button. Here you see I'm just passing two parameters when open the dialog. So there is one name and then color. If I click on this one is red because yeah, I'm just passing this as an input values. And just in case, if I'm sure like I'm not talking to myself and people are listening to me. So if you are online, just let me know, and um, I'll just say maybe see if I can come to the screen. Yeah, so just I can just check quickly on my channel because I have made this mistake quite at times, I would say, where I was just talking to myself, and then I realized, oh, I'm not like yeah. So yeah, people can hear me, so all good. And then there is actually tab animation, which was yeah, a lot of people were asking about this feature. So now you can actually do this. So now if I do the tab, there is an animation which is running. So if you see, there is a 500 millisecond delay, and I can also do like different timing for tab and body. So if you see this, so body is actually coming later. So there's a delay. If you see this, like the header is 200 milliseconds, and then this is 800 milliseconds. So you can actually pass this in as well. And then there are some APIs which are stable now, and some APIs which are renamed. So go ahead and explore them in case you want to do breaking changes. There are few. One of them is, of course, like now create component is a new API. You shouldn't be using component factory resolver. This was actually deprecated for a long time. And so if I click on this, like this, you can see the component is created. This is a nice simple API. You just earlier we used to create a factory and then pass the factory to create a component. It's not required, so you can just do it in a single line. So you can just give your uh, yeah, a container ref, and then just the component, and you're done. So this is testing. This is create module. In case you want to create a dynamic module, you can just now pass the module, and that's it. Like you don't have to do anything else. Style cleanup. This is important in case you rely on this behavior where if you destroy a component and its style is actually still in the body, which is changing the behavior of the app. Just be aware that it actually now removes the style tag. So if I click on this destroy component, you see the style tag is removed. So very important in case you go ahead and upgrade to Angular 22, just go ahead and check like if this is the behavior you used to rely on. And this is testing. This is okay, create component again. So there is some references here. You can refer to this. TypeScript 6 is available now, so you can actually rely on some of the new API I really liked about Temporal API. So now temporal API is available on with TypeScript 6, so you can actually use it in Angular as well. So I can just go ahead and say, hey, calculate, and it says days until target 30 days because today is 1st July and I chose 31st July. And I can choose the past date. And this is a simple example of calculating the number of days that diff basically for which you might have used some other API, some other time API before, but now you can just use temporal. This is a new function which is available in map, get or insert or get insert computed. So it actually avoids an extra computation which is required before it actually makes an entry into your map. So go ahead and see these examples, or if you have any use case in your code base, just go ahead and use it. Regex got an escape function, which is again TypeScript 6 feature. And there are some defaults which are changed now. Strict is true by default. So, for a longer period of time, it was so when Angular started, the strict was not true by default, which caused a lot of issues when people started migrating their code base because it was never a default in TypeScript. I mean, people used to love it, but yeah, it was never default. So now it's true by default. Angular made strict 2, I think, long back, Angular 16 or 17. I don't remember the version, but they made it like by default strict because every time the code base was breaking because someone is actually doing something which is not accepted when you turn the strict mode. Router got few functionality as well. So one of the thing which I really liked is now you don't have to rely. Let's say if you have child route, right? So this is an simple example here. So if you have a path where you are getting team ID, and then you have children, which is actually team slash team ID slash members slash member ID. So earlier, team ID was not passed to your children, and now it is. So now you can actually just have two input parameters, team ID and member ID in your child component. So I'm talking about the child component here, route child, and you will get both team ID and member ID. So you can actually remove some extra code which we used to rely on. Maybe so if you were using a snapshot or something else, you don't have to do that anymore. You just get this. With component binding, they have a new parameter, so there are new option basically. So this is something which it took me some time to understand, like what is this? And it says like there is undefined if stale parameter which is available. And to see this in example, I think you can just set it in undefined if stale. So it says if um, so it says the tab input would retain its previous value, which was not true before when navigating without tab. So if there is a tab parameter which exists, and if you say undefined if stale, then tab input would remain like retain its previous value. Let's say if you're navigating from somewhere else, which has like where you actually set the tab parameter before, then it will retain it. I still need to go ahead and see like what is the use case in real app, but maybe there are some use cases which you are aware of. Just give it a try. It will retain the query params. So so if I go ahead and see, we can see the query params are available here in your URL. And what provide routes are removed, and now you can just rely on provide router. It's the same single API which works. Services. We got something known as service. So, for example, yeah, I covered it in under inject as sync, but we have at the rate service, which is a new way to define a new service. So, for example, I think I have, yeah. So, service uh, earlier, I'm sure like everyone is aware of injectable. Now we have a service where you don't have to pass, provided in root. It's like provided it in root by default. So if you see this, it says auto provided by default, and you don't have to do that. It can be lazy loaded. So I think so. Yeah, this is where I was wrong. I think I have to go ahead and check. But now injectable also supports lazy loading. I was talking to Jerome, one of my friend who told me about this. So I just need to verify this. Sorry. And then in case you don't want to provide the service, for example, you don't want a service to be auto injected. As soon as you start the app, you can just say auto provided false. Earlier, it was like provided in any, or so if you're not providing in root, so not global. So it's not going to be global. Simple example, and there is an inject async function, which you can use actually to lazy load it. For example, here, I can lazily inject this particular service, and it also supports default export in case you want to define a service and don't, you know, I'm sure you know what named inject, named export and or default export. So use whatever you want. Now, default export is available in your components as well as services. Okay, so this is enough from Angular 22. So in case you want to give it a try, just go ahead and maybe use the migration. So migration guide is, I'm sure, if you're not aware, let's go back, update angular.io. I still remember the old URL, but it goes to angular.dev now. And you can choose from which version to which version you want to upgrade. For example, I can say 21 to 22, and it will give you the entire migration guide, what you need to do. So most of the time, you just need to rely on this command, ng update Angular 22, Angular core 22, Angular CLI 22. I ended up using at the latest because I wanted to use the not the next version. And yeah, so this is how you can actually migrate to Angular 22. Let's talk about the Sonnet. Sonnet 5 is here. So there was a block from Code Rabbit. So I'll just go ahead and open the tab. Code Rabbit. And let's go accept log. Yeah, so Code Sonnet 5, Cloud Sonnet 5 is available, and it's available inside in case you have subscription for GitHub Copilot. It's available here as well, so I can see Cloud Sonnet 5. Let me see like how the context window is. Of course, you can use 200K or 1 million. High is default, okay, extra high, and then they also have max. I'm sure like they will consume a lot of tokens in case you want to use them. Let's see how much token they cost. So input is 200 token, output is 1000 token, cache read is 20, cache write is 250. Okay, and I'm using the high right now, which is 200K. I'm not using 1 million by default because 1 million is good in case you have a large, maybe complex task. One thing about Sonnet, which is writing code, right? So I think we covered about how does it perform when writing uh, new code. So yeah, so this is the section where you can actually read about like how well Sonnet performs when it writes a code. And one thing which I really liked is it actually questions itself a lot. So my team was actually able to run like give a task to Sonnet 5, and then they went for lunch, and then they came back after 4 hours. It was still working. So Sonnet 5 does really good job like asking itself if it has produced a good code base, and then it goes into loop. So if you have maybe a complex task where it is going to take, you need a perfect solution. So my team recommends, okay, just go ahead and use Sonnet 5, but it is not for small task, because in case it's a small task, it will just go ahead and start doing a lot of utilities. It will start writing a lot of utility functions. Probably don't need that for smaller tasks. um, I mean, the team is not recommending it, but for bigger tasks, which you probably want to maybe just write the prompt, go back, and go and have lunch, come back and see like if it's working or not. That's where you can use Sonnet 5. It actually starts writing test first. So like most of the tokens most of the models which we have, they actually write code, and test is not that important for them. But with Sonnet 5, actually starts writing test and then goes ahead and with the implementation, which is nice. I mean, of course, if you like test-driven development, just go ahead and give it a try with whatever agent you are using. I'm using GitHub Copilot. I mean, generally like the harness, which is available inside GitHub Copilot or GitHub app. I think it's still not available in GitHub app. Let me go ahead and see that. Yeah. So it's here. It was you see Sonnet 5. No, not here. Let's see in the models. Plugin model provider. No, this is model provider, but I don't think we have. Uh, yeah, I don't think so. We have by default available version of Sonnet 5, GPT, good up Copilot models, Haiku, Sonnet 4.5, 4.6. No. Okay, so maybe it will arrive soon. It's available in at least Visual Studio Code. And so yeah, go ahead and give it a try, Sonnet 5. And if you want to read more like how it performs for testing, in case you want to choose this model and run some uh, or ask it to maybe review your code base, yes, go ahead and read this blog very well explained, like what we found. It actually talks a lot, so there will be a lot of noise in case you want to go ahead and use it for review. So be careful if you don't like much noise. I mean, we try to, uh, we have our internal benchmarks whenever there is a new model which is launched, and we saw that okay, this is not matching up to our the yeah. So it's not actually we already have our benchmark, and it is not actually up to the benchmark, so we are not using it. But we generally let people know or the teams know what models we are using. We are multi-model. So if you don't know about Code Rabbit Review, it's a multi-model system. So we choose the best model based on what task we are trying to perform. So yeah, so this is Sonnet 5. And that's it for the day. So I just wanted to keep it short, 30 minutes, because there's no point dragging the stream. We had this much to talk about, and we will be back tomorrow, same time. And let's see, we will be back with one of our maintainers to talk about the project they are maintaining, and we will be back next week again with some more information. We are trying to bring, try maybe some local models, try them out and show you on stream. So that's it for the today, and have a very good rest of the day and of the week. And see you later.